Hey guys, this is Comic Uno, and today I'm doing Comic Uno's top 10 Kickstarters of the month. And before I get started, I do have a couple of friends who have Kickstarters, and I also want to mention that I do Kickstarter consulting. So if you want to up your game and make your page even better for Kickstarter and need pointers about how to make the best Kickstarter, go definitely DM me or message me and we'll talk about consulting. Now let's jump into those friends Kickstarters. We have Glarien of White Ash, issue 3. This is a powerhouse of a series. We're also getting a little deeper into the book. We're up to issue 3. What I love about Charlie's writing is that he grounds fantasy so well, and this has to do with like a 1970s woman who meets the world and Glarien herself of elves and White Ash. So if that is up your alley, grounded fantasy, go check that one out with some gorgeous art. We also have Witch Creek High, issue 1 and 2. This is a slice of life version of the webtoon Witch Creek Road, which is also kind of a high school story, definitely more leaning towards horror. This is showing the slice of life moments of the comic. So go check that one out. It is also, I believe, on Webtoon. Next up is Blade of Frankenstein. If you like a good mix of all different type of horror, you have Frankenstein, you got barbarians, you got Cthulhu in this issue. So really, I feel like if you're any type of horror fan, you're gonna find the genre you like in this one. And this one has 3 issues as well. Moving on to Tart Volume 1. If you're looking for a pristine hardcover here and a prestige hardcover, go check this out. You know, have a great collection for a series that's been going on for a long time on Kickstarter. There's more than 10 issues of this book. It's about time travel, a strong female lead, good art. Go check it out. And then we got Bixby Grant. This is issue 1, but there is a previous story for this one as well. So if you want a little bit more of a flavor of Bixby, go check that one out. And it's also on the Kickstarter. And this has to do with a vampire and Bixby, our main character, is a detective teaming up. So you get some supernatural mystery going on in this one. Also really great artwork for this, very crisp, clean, but still kind of has the darker edge because it's a mystery. Moving on to the last honorable mention, and then we'll get into the top 10. Roseblood Manor, issue 4. So this is a not safe for work anthology focusing on horror. Bad Bug does wonderful books in general, but especially not safe for work books. So this is a really great way to sample their stories and other creators as well that are on the Kickstarter platform. All right, moving on to our top 10 here. So number 10 is Sean Gordon Murphy's Zorro, Man of the Dead. I'm surprised you don't actually get to see as many Zorro stories as you would expect. I believe it's a public domain character. And Sean Gordon Murphy, he's done some wonderful stuff at, more of the mainstream DC. I don't know if he's actually worked for Marvel, but DC Comics he's done a lot for. And, Image, worked with Scott Snyder, and just has a long laundry list of series, but now also utilizing Kickstarter to do his own titles. I know Plot Holes was part of that as well. I believe that was an Indiegogo project. And now we're going to see the same thing with Zorro and tackling a new story from the creator, who I think has wonderful artwork as well, and he's doing the art for this, doing the full book. So if you want a graphic novel, go check that one out. Moving on to number 9, which is Everyday Fears, a slice of life horror comic anthology. So it's pretty much what is happening in these horror stories, but like on the sidelines, which I thought was just such a cool concept for a story, but then a great concept for an anthology, because you could get to see different genres of horror and different kind of side stories of horror. Like, how do you have a slice of life story within such a big genre like horror? And I'm stoked for that, and we saw that with Witch Creek High as well. All right, moving on to number 8, which is a No Moderation, a queer dystopian romance comic. And what really pulled me into this one, A, I like queer books, but B, it's a dystopian story that actually has a happy ending, and it doesn't have to do with the doom and gloom of dystopia. Sure, that is your setting, but it really has to do with the heartwarming romance of these characters. And I just thought that was a really interesting take for the genre, and then also just getting to see some wholesome stories for queer characters. Moving on to number 7, which is Stay Hydrated, a Succulents comic collection. It's pretty much what it sounds like. It's the day of the life of succulents, so cacti and cactuses, and it just looked really cute. I love the art style. It also looked very comic strippy, so you get to get short stories throughout and kind of have a funny punchlines and a cool comedy book. And again, really, really cute art. Moving on to number 6, which is Devil's Misfits, issue 1. This is a not safe for work book. And what really drew my eye for this was, obviously you kind of have the sexy feel of the book, but it also has to do with rock and roll. It has to do with music. And that's books that I really enjoy. So the vibe of the book really got me for that one. So that is number 6. Moving on to number 5, which is White Heron, a graphic novel, and this is about an ordinary girl who also is a soldier and also a hero. So we get to see a lot of different hats this character's wearing. But what drew me in for this one was the anime style. It kind of had this manga style to it. It was really unique art style, and then also just the easy premise of, all right, let's follow this girl and how she's going to be a hero. Moving on to number 4, which is Pioneer's Blood and Stars, issues 1 through 2. This is a vampire book, but also the unique twist of this one, first of all, art style really works for this, especially the thumbnail really grabbed me. But then B, it's about a vampire in space. I honestly haven't seen that one before. And what are the rules of vampires being in space? There's no sun. Does that affect them at all? Or, I guess, how does the sun in space affect compared to being on Earth? I think that could be interesting mythology. And then I just like the vibe of kind of meshing the gothicness of vampires, but then also the honestly dryness of space sometimes. I feel like that this art style did a really good job at showing both a sci-fi book and a horror book. Moving on to number 3, which is The Hunters. This is by the creative team of Jonah Hex. Jimmy Palmiotti has been doing amazing work on Kickstarter. They have so many titles on their roster here, and this is just an added plus. So if you're already a Jonah Hex fan, how do you not check this out? It's a Western book by that creative team. So if you like Westerns, this definitely is a must pick up. Moving on to number 2, which is NPCs, Myth, Magic, and Retail, issue 1. I love a good story that puts what you think a genre could do on its head. Now, I'm not a D&D fan. I'm not an RPG fan. I don't even know what an NPC is, but I gather it has to do with D&D and RPG storytelling. But what I liked about this is that this character used to be a hero. She used to be the lead of this D&D type campaign, and then she got hurt, and now she's doing retail. It's like, okay, so what are the characters doing outside of our main heroes? And let's see what their story is about. We've seen it with like DC Comics and Marvel. We've seen a couple of stories like that, but never from this angle and this genre. And the artwork was cartoony, fun, comedic, so I like that. Moving on to number 1, which is Proctor. This has to do with a demon hunter. And what I liked about this page a lot is that it gives you a lot of information on where this character comes from, why this story is unique. It talks about like the mother of the character and like how she got to this position. And also she just seems like a very likable protagonist in the regard that she has a lot of layers. She just wants to get drunk and she's a demon hunter. So she doesn't want these responsibilities, but of course she has them. And I just like the vibe of the book. I liked kind of the rock and roll punk aspect of it. And the artwork, the interior artwork, I thought fit really well for the book as well. It just grabbed my attention, which is why it's number 1. Let me know in the comments below what are some Kickstarters you're looking forward to for the month. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. This is Comic Uno, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.